4, 3.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Delaware County Sustainability Commission meeting this evening. I am going to share my screen so we can look at the first item on the agenda. So the first item on the agenda is a welcome, roll call, and interactive question. So we're going to wait a couple of minutes to do the roll call to see how many other people arrive in order for us to achieve quorum. So in the meantime, we will do the interactive question. So the interactive question is, go to menti.com, that's MENTI.com, and the code is 6644113. And you can just do that on your phones or open another browser window on your computer. Just a quick question, which of the following sustainable practices have you done this week? And you can click all that apply. You bought local and in-season food, reduced food waste, made food yourself, ate less meat and more vegetables and fruits, bought food from the bulk bin so you can use a reusable container, you used laundry detergent that was not in a plastic bottle, and used a refillable water bottle. So we'll see what kinds of answers we get coming in. So again, the code is 6644113. The question is, which of the following sustainable practices have you done this week? Okay. We'll just wait another minute or so in case there are some people just trying to get into it. And this is our only Mentimeter question for the evening. So again, which of the following sustainable practices have you done this week? And you can click all that apply. And the code, it's menti.com, and the code is 6644113. Okay, so it looks like most of you have used a refillable water bottle. And then it looks like most of you have been doing a great job with all of these. The buying food from the bulk bin is one that none of you have done, but it's really neat how all of you have done most of them. And there are a whole lot of other ones that aren't even included in the survey. So you're impacting the environment a whole lot more doing all of these other items than buying food from the bulk bin. But these are just, you know, things that we may not think about every day that we can do to help the environment. Oh, okay. This is a really good question. For those in the public who might not know where people can find laundry detergent that is not in plastic containers, there are a couple of stores where I've bought laundry detergent in cartons. So it's not plastic; it's like in a cardboard box. But also, there's, and usually, like if it's in a cardboard box, it has to be like powdered detergent. So so if you're using liquid detergent, maybe if you want to try changing from a liquid detergent to a powdered detergent, so it doesn't have to be in plastic. I've actually found, I recently made the conversion to powdered detergent, and it actually cleans my clothes better. So so that's one thing you can do is change to don't use a liquid detergent, and then you don't need a plastic container for that. So okay, all right, well, thanks for that. It's always fun to see what kinds of feedback we're going to get with the with the interactive question. Hold on here. Oh, and there's another comment in the chat. Earth Breeze has detergent on as eco sheets, and Blue Land has power detergent. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. We get ours from Grove. Oh, thank you. I'm going to write that down. I always learn something new. So thank you. I want to write the Earth Breeze down too. Even though I use the detergent that's in the carton, it'll be neat. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you. Powder, not power. Okay, thanks. Oh, Blue Land. Thank you. Blue Land. All right. Thank you. Even though I currently use a non-liquid detergent, I'm always looking for like some other ones to try. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. So now I'll stop sharing to see if we have quorum, and it looks like we don't currently have quorum. So let me share.
I haven't received anything back from either Ed or Laura either, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Well, let me share my screen to go on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, roll call. So I will do roll call. And I have to not share my screen for this, and I won't be able to see my screen as I do roll call. So as I call your name, please say here or present. Steve Clark. Jacqueline Rhodes. Scott Sidlow.
Present.
Thank you. Jenny Sachs. I thought I saw Jenny Sachs. Are you here, Jenny Sachs?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, thank you. David Director.
I'm here.
Thank you. Sean Stansel.
I'm here.
Thank you. Julie Prey.
I'm here.
Thank you. Cephas Hales Richardson. Crystal Gold.
Present. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Ed Orner. I know you said Mark Manfrey is not here. Gina Burrett.
I'm here.
Thank you. Ed McGargy.
Here.
Thank you. And I know Becca, you're here. Laura Goodrich Cairns. Okay. Not here. Okay. I will share my screen again. So now I would like to review the instructions for public comment. So the following are our instructions for public comment. Throughout the meeting, we will be providing the opportunity for residents and guests to provide comments or feedback, during which time comments may be submitted by the following. 1, guests may submit written comment to the email sustain.delco@co.delaware.pa.us. Again, that's sustain.delco@co.delaware.pa.us. Number 2, guests may also provide written comment in the chat window of the Zoom meeting. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, since we don't have quorum, we won't do the approval of the meeting minutes. So the next item on the agenda after that is food access in Delaware County. We have a guest today. How do you pronounce your first name? Come Lansana?
Yes, yes, Colmay.
Oh, thank you. The floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
All right, let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. So today I'm going to give a brief discussion topic about Delco food access. I'm going to give a little background about myself. So I graduated undergrad from Bloomsburg University with a concentration of environmental science in the geography and planning sector. I've been in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard for 10 years now. Also water treatment specialist is my MOS within the Army National Guard. Currently working at Delaware County Planning Department as a subdivision and land development planner. And I'm also currently working on my MPH at Drexel University. All right, so what is a food desert? So from the definition I got offline, an urban area in which it is difficult to buy affordable or good quality fresh food. For example, the sentence states many poor people live in food deserts where they have plenty of food, but none of it is healthy. So why did I decide to go on to try to create a map or visualize this food desert throughout Delaware County? So originally I was a part of the sustainability committee in the health and wellness sector. So within that section, the food desert and nutritional food section really was what I was interested in. I also wanted to learn more about it because I drive around Delaware County, or as I drive through Delaware County, I see a lot of grocery stores, I see a lot of shopping centers. So I was like, oh, I don't really think Delaware County is a place for food deserts, but we will see. And I also wanted to highlight areas that are not well known to disadvantages when it comes to food access, and also to influence change within the county's food coverages, especially since we have our sustainability plan currently. So this is just a brief overview of what I conducted with my project, but I will also be pulling up the actual, I'll be pulling up the actual map on ArcGIS Online. Can you guys see the ArcGIS Online map? Okay, so basically I created layers from the ACS poverty status. So the darker areas that you see go from light to dark are the income level of people that it represents income level of people that live below the poverty line. And I also put a layer of grocery stores, which I got from a colleague here at the planning department that started with finding grocery stores across the county. And I also have a layer of these red dots represent food pantries throughout the county. So to be clear, I am not a GIS expert, and these are not all of the grocery stores that are throughout the county, but this is, my map has 31 of the grocery stores where there's a total of 59 grocery stores that will later be presented with the GIS department. Also the food pantry. Yes.
Sorry, we're seeing the map on your PowerPoint slide, not the ArcGIS.
Not the ArcGIS. Okay, I wonder why it's not showing. Okay, let's see, new share. All right, maybe you can see it now. Now, can you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so as you can see, these are the grocery stores. Right here is a giant. The red dots represent the food pantries, but these are the food pantries that are only a part of the shared food program. And then, as I stated earlier, where you see the colors from light to dark is the ACS layer that shows income levels of people that live below the poverty line. Is there any questions or anything so far? Or anything that you want me to zoom into or try to see? I'm trying to get as close as possible. Some of you guys can like see a little bit more. And just to state again, our GIS department is also working with the health department to create a more in-depth and more data-driven heat map or food desert access map throughout the county. So there will be more information being put out. This is like a starter up map and a starter up for us to get an idea of what is going on or what is available throughout the county currently. But there will be more in-depth information to come in the future with our GIS department. So originally, I just wanted to have this for us to try to visualize, to see areas that you probably didn't think would, didn't have grocery stores or food access, or where we can get more food pantries put in place. So this is like a conversation starter, somewhere to start, somewhere to see where or visualize what's going on throughout Delaware County. All right, let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint? Okay. That's that. So the constraints that I went through with trying to put this map together, there's really not a lot of data available about grocery stores, shelters, or food, or any type of food access. Very limited data that I was able to find through Esri, the Living Atlas. So it was like hard to gather this information to put together, because apparently not too many people have done this before or tried to gather data similar to this. And also, I'm not an ArcGIS professional. Last time I had GIS was like in undergrad. So I just was using YouTube and my colleagues to try to put this together. All right. So the opportunities for use for the map that I started will be like interventions, policy change, brainstorming ideas for change, and also just to present new knowledge for those who had no idea or unaware. So that's that. And also with the sustainability plan, with all the ideas that we're going to try to implement. So these can help storm up ways or places or locations where funding is available, like, oh, maybe we should target the eastern part of the county or western or this part. So it's just to help try to give an idea where interventions and implementation of the plan can gear to. And how does this tie to public health? So lack of nutritional developments throughout a community can reflect poor health conditions and choices for individuals. So if an area is more prone to corner stores and gas stations and Wawas or places that don't have nutritional value, there'll be prone for those people to maybe have higher blood pressure, diabetes. So it'll also reflect in with the health department when they try to gather data. So nutrition, public health, having access to nutritional food really does tie into public health. Also, for those who don't have access to grocery stores, they might have to travel to further locations to get to an actual good grocery store. So like a lot of people who don't have access to nutritional food are many of those from disadvantaged groups. So that's also would be cause financial constraints and trying to drive gas and get to a location where they can get some type of good nutritional value. Or they also may be like, oh, well, it's a corner store here, we can just go here and just go the cheaper route. So that's also something to keep in mind. And that is all. If there's any questions or inputs, I'm willing to answer or go on.
Does anyone have any questions for Connie?
I have a comment. First of all, it's great work. It really, the map just, speaks for itself, I think. But I was going to suggest that perhaps Google Maps has a lot of that data on things like the grocery stores. Whether there's a good way to access that data, that's another matter. To be able to download it as a batch. So I don't know about that. But I also would like to, add a personal observation about food deserts. Back in the 1960s, back in the days of the dinosaurs, I lived in West Philadelphia. And West Philadelphia at that time had exactly one supermarket in the entire area between 34th Street and 52nd Street. And that was a very, very rundown Acme at the corner of 43rd and Walnut Street. And I observed way back then as a young student about the fact that the food in the poorest areas was always the most expensive and of the poorest quality. And that's because the people there were trapped in with the ability or not having the ability to travel to places where better stuff was around. And so this is not a new problem. This is not a new problem.
Thank you for your comment, David. We also have a comment in the chat. Ed McGargy said, I would add community supported agricultural operations, CSA, orchards and farmers markets. And Jenny Sachs said, or community garden plots like the ones near in Rose Tree Park.
Okay.
I would
May
like
I
to
have a
say
question? Oops, sorry, go ahead, Scott. You can go first.
that, I just want to say that, as David said, the map speaks for itself. I think this is quite good work and a great start to something that could become even bigger and better. And I'm really excited that the sustainability plan drove your initiative to do this. And I think this is the first example that we're seeing of the sustainability plan affecting what we do in our community, in that it here you took the initiative because you were on the steering committee and you developed some sustainability knowledge, not just for us, but for the entire county. And hopefully the sustainability plan will do that for many other areas of sustainability, across the whole spectrum. So I'm pleased with both this particular set of work and also the example that it sets for our plan going forward.
Thank you.
Ed McGargy, one of the things that I participated in as part of the Federal Resource Conservation and Conservation Development Council was that every year the Department of Agriculture provides food vouchers for WIC program and senior centers and for poor people to go to food markets in the county. And we used to provide transportation while the money was available to transport people from those senior centers and WIC centers to out to Linville Orchards so they could get food firsthand. Very good program.
Thank you, Ed. Any other comments or questions for Comey?
Kome, I was just curious, what kind of attribute data do you have for the food pantries? So is it just the name and location? Or what is the background data that you had pulled?
It was just the name and the location of the pantries. That's what I received. I got a layer from GIS department, just name and location.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments for Comey?
Oh, I was just going to say it might be interesting down the road to see, to then link this to reducing food waste. So not just ensuring food access, but also reducing waste, having those grocery stores on there. Maybe people, this ends up as an app and you get an alert when the grocery store has ugly apples, right? And food pantry can use those. Someone can take them, turn them into pies. It's great for ugly apples. But to even see once this is complete, yes, it's ensuring access, but at the other end too, possibly also reducing waste.
Oh, that's great, Jenny. Thank you. A great comment. Are there any other questions or comments for Comey? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Comey, for your great presentation.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. All right, let me stop sharing.
Okay. So actually the next item on the agenda is actually public comment, and we do have something for public comment here. Has Delco ever executed a chain of custody investigation of their recycle stream? I ask because recycling of plastics seems to be a scam. The stream being diverted to third world countries where it's dumped anywhere. Plenty of video on YouTube regarding this.
Just to provide context, so in the background of our office, so since 2021, we have not explored a chain of custody investigation. With Jim Warner not here from Solid Waste Authority, unfortunately, we can't lean on him for an answer. But I am happy to look into this before our next meeting and follow up to see if it's something the authority has done. And if they have not, I can also try to pull some additional information on what we might need to be able to do a chain of custody investigation. Thank you for bringing this forward.
Yes, thank you. There's a comment here. The Basel Convention.
Yeah, the Basel Convention. There was just recently amended to address. It used to just apply to hazardous waste and electronic waste, which was a lot of the genesis of that international treaty. Many types of plastic waste were recently added to that. So there is, I don't know what is happening in the county, and that's Becca's purview, but there is enhanced international attention to unwanted movement of plastics around the world. So that's just within the past couple of years.
Okay, thank you. All right. So is there any more public comment? Anyone who is connected to this who wants to type it in through the chat? Now is the time for public comment if you'd like to share it.
There's nothing else in the email at this time.
Okay. There will be other opportunities for public comment as we go. So now I'll share my screen so we can go to the next item on the agenda. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Office of Sustainability Plan Update. Becca.
All right, let me get situated here. Lots to share this evening. Alrighty, can everybody see my screen?
No.
Wonderful. Let's try again. How about now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Alrighty. So let's get started. So I'm going to start off with just some overview from our update or our office. First and foremost, I'm happy to share that Francine is expected to return tomorrow to the office. So we're very excited for that. Happy to hear she's doing well and will be returning. So please expect to see her in our next meeting. The first thing I wanted to bring up, so it's been something that's been mentioned in a couple of our meetings previously, but as many of you know, Delaware County is seeking affiliation with Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful. I'm happy to say that this is finally moving forward after a brief pause for planning efforts, but invitations are currently out for our advisory committee. We really wanted to focus on groups and individuals who are already being leaders in beautifying our community and performing litter removal processes. So some of the groups that have already committed to participating include the CRC and Darby Creek Valley Association, so our watershed groups here, the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative, which represents the interests of, I think, 13, or it's either 9 or 13 municipalities for pollutant reduction planning, Penn State's Master Watershed Stewards and Master Gardeners, among many others. We are, again, looking to kind of have a holistic representation on this board. So if anyone has recommendations for a potential business owner or business that also has interest in like litter reduction or waste reduction, I would love those recommendations to extend an invitation to them. Next steps for us. So we will be having our first advisory committee meeting probably in the first couple weeks of October, in which we have to provide a community assessment. So Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful sent us a bunch of questions just to kind of gauge the background on litter prevention and beautification, problem areas, community engagement, just a broad overview. We'll also be setting goals for the group, and finally having a broader discussion of identified need areas. So just as a reminder, through our affiliation agreement, we're required to host 5 events per year focused around litter prevention and beautification. So the ideas and discussions will really help lead which events Delaware County chooses to participate in or host. And it'll also allow us to identify some need areas for broader zero waste initiatives. In being an affiliate, we also have access to larger resources. So we'll have the opportunity to partner on other community efforts and bring some supplies and other expertise to the table. So some other things, this was some big news recently, so I just wanted to share it. FEMA has recently made designations for community disaster resilience zones across the country. This is related to the Community Resilience Disaster Resilience Zone Act of 2022. And pretty much what they did is they identified the top 50 census tracts across the country, which have the highest risks for natural hazards. And then they also took the top 1% of census tracts per state. The reason I bring this up is Chester City was designated as a disaster resilience zone. And essentially what that means is FEMA, NOAA, and the Department of Transportation will now prioritize funding and increase federal cost sharing opportunities on projects in that zone. So while it's incredibly unfortunate that one of our communities falls within the realm of being in the top 1% for vulnerability, this is a great opportunity to allow the city of Chester to have additional funding sources or advantage when applying for federal funds. Some other areas that also receive this designation in our area include Lower Oxford Township in Chester County, portions of the Philadelphia waterfront, as well as some of the waterfront in Wilmington, Delaware. So some other things that have been going on that I just wanted to share with you. So you may remember from last month, we have a long list of community engagement events this fall. So recently was Media's EcoFest. Unfortunately, I was not able to participate, but I would love to hear from you, anybody who attended, how it went. So if anybody's willing to share that was able to attend, how that went.
I think I hear my name being spoken.
David.
I was there manning the booth at the media EAC table, which meant that I was unable to man the booth at the media zero waste table. Both groups were represented. It was very nice. There was a great turnout. There were people going to and from all day. The area was parked up solid, but actually a lot of people were arriving on foot. Redbud Nurseries was there, and a number of the local garden outfits were there. And I think a good time was had by all. And Scott was there. How did you manage to escape saying something?
I was going to speak next, David. I was there as well. I had a nice time. It was lots of great exhibitors. It's great to see so many different sustainability organizations and folks committed to sustainable practices in the greater media region and the county across the whole. And yeah, it was a very nice event. I think who put it on, Transition Town Media, should be very pleased with themselves, and I think it was a great addition, and hopefully it becomes something that happens every year moving forward, because it was a good, nice event.
Thank you for sharing your experiences. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I was out of town in the morning. But on the same day, I did participate in Concord Township's Community Day, which the pictures on the screen are from our table. Thanks to my parents, they provided produce for us to start the conversations with folks about some of our initiatives, including that of increasing local food production. And I will say, even though it was very hot outside, we had a lot of really great conversations. And there were folks from all over Delco that were happy to kind of share their experiences and try to learn more about how they can get involved. So to continue these conversations, I just wanted to give a reminder of some additional upcoming events that we're participating in and would love to encourage you to attend. So this upcoming Sunday, so I guess next Sunday, I'll be giving a zero waste presentation at St. John's in Wallingford. This is after their morning church services, so members of the public are encouraged to attend. We were also invited to lecture at Widener University to a green chemistry course to just kind of share more about our plan as well as our background of how we got involved in sustainability. On October 21st, We Can Serve Pennsylvania will be hosting an EAC network gathering. Although it's hosted in Chester County this year, Delaware County residents are more than welcome to attend, so I'd highly encourage you to sign up for that. And then we were also invited to speak to the Swarthmore Senior Citizens Group on November 8th. So lots of fun events going on and a great way for us to spread the word about the new sustainability plan. I wasn't able to fit it on the slide, but I also just wanted to put a plug in for Chester County. So following inspiration from our sustainability conference, Chester County will be hosting a one-day sustainability summit on September 26th at Penn State Great Valley.
I'm sorry, it's much different. It's a summit. It's not a conference. It's much different.
I was not aware, but thank you for pointing that out.
I started to cut you off.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But everybody's welcome to attend. If you go to the Chester County Planning Department's website, you can register for the event. It's completely free. And I will say they're doing some pretty cool like breakout sessions later in the week that includes tours of places that are doing sustainability well across the county. So if you're seeking some different inspiration, I'd highly encourage everybody to attend that as well.
Hey, Becca, sorry to interrupt you, but
Sure.
I know we had something later on in the agenda to say thank you to some of our commission members who are leaving. Jenny Sachs has to leave early.
Oh,
So
yes, I'm
maybe we
sorry.
can just say thank you to Jenny. I don't know if she officially left already. Are you still there, Jenny?
I'm still here. I was just logging up in just a minute, but please read my note later. Thank you to everyone for everything you've done. It's been amazing. And like I said, I'm going to be cheering this on. I'm proud to be a citizen of Delaware County.
Oh, thank you, Jenny.
Thank
you
you so
for
much,
all your
Jenny.
Thank you,
dedication
Jenny.
For years. Thank you.
Everyone, I will see you around.
Okay, see you.
Yep.
We'll read your comment at that time on the agenda. Thank you, Jenny. Bye. Sorry, Becca.
Ah, no, that's okay. I hate to see you guys go, especially some of the original folks are now leaving. Scott, we're going to harass you later in the later in the meeting. So other things I just wanted to share again from kind of perspective. I feel like I haven't provided an update on some of these things in recent meetings. So as you guys know, we've applied to several grants over the past year. I'm happy to share that our local share account grant was awarded a couple of months ago for Delaware County to perform a tree canopy assessment. So what this would include is, I believe, the satellite mapping and flyover mapping of our tree canopy, as well as a report with recommendations on areas that should have increased canopy, what some of the potential issues are, which may hinder our canopy, whether it's just overdevelopment or like disease in certain trees. And it will also provide recommendations for how to make our tree canopy more robust. We've also recently received an Act 101 Section 901 grant, which will allow us to get reimbursement up to 80% for the creation of our 10-year municipal solid waste plan. So those are exciting. Unfortunately, on the other side of the coin, we recently received notice that we did not receive funding for the solid waste infrastructure and recycling, also known as SWIFR, which was an IRA program. So our application, as you may remember, was the proposal for a countywide composting facility to be held at one of the county's either parks or parcels, just to allow for greater expansion and availability of commercial composting and residential composting. But unfortunately, we were not awarded. So once Francine comes back, we're going to have to form a new game plan of how to fund that kind of project. So with those grants, we still have one application out there floating, and that is the Energy Efficiency Community Block Grant, which is through the Department of Energy. And this program is actually a formula allocation for all communities which receive community development block grant funding through HUD. So what that means is, so long as we apply, Delaware County will be receiving an allocation of approximately $400,000 for energy efficiency projects. So that application is for January, but something to just keep on the horizon. And I will say I see David's hand up.
Yeah, I had just some questions about the composting grant, and I know that was a long shot in the first place, and it was very hastily put together. But I'm I'm wondering whether maybe the strategy for moving forward with that would be to begin the process of looking at potential sites, and working on that part on our own to the degree we can, and then developing something that we can add to it for next year's grant round and have a little more time to work on it at the same time. But maybe if we can look in the site selection direction anyway, we might make a better case for the grant. if we're further along in the process.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So as a part of our initial application, we had left it undecided as to the site, but said our recommendation would be for one of 3 parcels, which is already owned by the county. And that was a decision just to not substantially raise the cost of not having to purchase a new parcel. I will say, following our application, we were able to speak with one of the communities that we recommended. It was Concord Township with the prison. And I will say there was a lot of concern about increased truck traffic and community impacts, just based on where on the site we were considering. So I think that your recommendation to kind of start doing a deeper dive in potential site analysis is probably a good idea. Just recognizing that we need to have it a little bit more shovel ready if we are to,
Exactly.
again, continue to pursue the funding. Does anybody else have questions about the grants before moving forward?
I was just working on an energy audit report for Parkside Borough that would be able to utilize the energy efficiency community block grant. So I'm very pleased to see that Delaware County is looking to get that funding.
Yes. Well, we're looking to receive the funding first.
Yes, of course, and then distribute. But yes.
Wonderful. So we'll continue on then. Some other things that we have been working on that we haven't provided an update on in a while is we actually have quite a few regional sustainability efforts underway. So when I say regional, typically all of the initiatives that are on the screen are hosted by DVRPC, which is our municipal or metropolitan planning organization. And they're in cooperation with Chester County, Bucks County, Montgomery County, and Delaware County. So the first project I just wanted to give you guys an update on is the Regional Power Purchasing Agreement. It's now called SEP. So it's like Southeastern Pennsylvania Energy Procurement. They're killing me with all the acronyms, to be honest, but I'm happy to share that this is actively moving forward. So we are currently in a stage in which our solicitors and the solicitors from each of the other counties are currently working on drafting a memorandum of understanding, which would formally bind our partnership together and allow us to begin moving forward with establishing a sub-account and looking at more joint purchasing options. So it is anticipated that the memorandum of understanding will go before county council as well as the other counties' councils in October. And they will be hosting their first formal energy board meeting in November. This is a tremendous step as the research and conversations and back and forth for this project have been going on for over 2 years. So we're very happy to say that it's finally moving forward toward the more formalized agreement. I will say as well, with that effort, I know through our conversations with the commission, it has been questioned previously of how municipalities or if municipalities would be able to join that formal partnership. And while it is something that each of the counties supports, they recognize that they want to just have the formal core board and kind of smoothing out the first round of procurements and the procedures and policies first before bringing on and onboarding additional members. So it's expected that that may open up further in the future, but they kind of want to get their sea legs on first before inviting other members. The next project I wanted to share with you is the Regional Benchmarking Program. So again, this is hosted by DVRPC and is with the other 3 counties. And if you're not familiar, so benchmarking is I'll use Philadelphia's program as an example. So the city of Philadelphia requires businesses and industries of a certain size to report their energy data back to the city each year. And this allows the city to analyze kind of similar use cases and identify further opportunities for energy consumption reduction in the city. So right now, we as a group are exploring how and what this might look like on a regional scale. And it's important to recognize that it's not a simple like copy and paste program, because the power for benchmarking lies at a municipal level. So it's not something that we can just kind of swoop in and say, okay, 49 municipalities of Delaware County, you are now going to do this. So this group recently received grant funding to explore how we could do this, what it would look like, and also do a potential pilot program with municipalities that would opt in to start. So this is something, again, very much in preliminary phases and just received notice of funding, but definitely something to keep on your radar, especially in some of your more active municipalities. As it's anticipated, we will be looking for pilot communities down the road. The next program I wanted to share with you is the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant for MSAs. What this is on a federal level, the federal government provided grant funding to the states to create climate pollution reduction plans. And DVRPC is leading this effort in our area. So DVRPC will be creating a climate pollution reduction plan for the region on a regional scale. And the strategies identified in that plan will then be eligible for funding for the second round of that grant program. So this is a really big project in which the goals and ideas from our sustainability plan, as well as those from communities across Pennsylvania, or at least regionally in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Delaware, will all be coming together. The last thing I wanted to share with you, so lots of projects on a regional scale, is we just received notice today that the same group, so DVRPC, Chester, Bucks, Delco, and Montgomery County, received a Department of Energy grant along with some additional partners for the Clean Energy to Communities program to create a regional energy activation hub. And what this idea is and what this project proposal was is essentially to create a regional energy transition plan, as well as identifying in-depth and localized strategies for energy transition across the region. So recognizing that when you upscale, municipalities, counties, all in our area have very similar goals and very similar situations in terms of energy procurement and receipt. So this will look at energy transition on a more regional level. And I think it's really exciting and important to note that this was only one of 6 projects across the entire United States to receive funding under this program. So we're incredibly honored to be a part of this group and look forward to working with other regional partners as well. It's very exciting to share. So some other updates, just business. So as you guys know, unfortunately, we have 2 folks leaving us. However, the vacancies for both Scott and Jenny's positions have been posted on the county's boards and commissions page. So if you have any folks in your networks that might be interested in joining our Sustainability Commission and have expertise in water resource management or serve one of our municipalities, please send them over to that page. The other thing I wanted to recognize is our annual reorganization meeting is to be held at our next meeting. So as such, we will also need to select a chair, vice chair, and secretary. And I just wanted to reach out to say, if you're interested in any of these positions, if you could just shoot me a message, I would appreciate it. And that way, if we have multiple folks that want to go for chair or vice chair or secretary, I can set up like anonymous voting ahead of time, just so we have a game plan for that meeting. The other thing I wanted to share is Sean, who has valiantly served as our secretary for the last 3 years, is ready to pass the baton. Minutes can be quite a bear sometimes, so he's looking for somebody to relieve him of that effort. So looking for a volunteer. Again, you don't have to volunteer now, but if we don't have anybody interested, we are going to have very awkward pause during our next meeting. So please consider. And Sean, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, it's a pretty easy job based on the fact that all the meetings get posted on video. So if you need to go back and fill it in, it's yeah, it's not a rough, time consuming job at all. But I've enjoyed doing it, and yeah, I think it's a good way to stay engaged.
Thank you. And thank you again so much for doing this. So Sean has been on the commission since the very beginning, and again, has very graciously done this job since the very beginning. So for the past 3 years, and we greatly appreciate it, Sean.
Well, thank you. No problem.
So with that, the next thing I wanted to share, just continuing to move forward, is our zero waste plan update. So as you guys know from our last meeting, we received comments from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection on August 10th, which was the day before our meeting. Since then, we've had the opportunity to both go through those comments as well as meet with the Department of Environmental Protection to address comments. We found that the majority of comments were very simple. So the state was looking for additional inventories of facilities or offerings. So some of those things that they had requested were an inventory of hospitals, so they have a better idea of what kind of specialized medical waste is coming out of the county. An inventory of community activities for waste removal, or those that are over 200 people to ensure that folks are recycling. Sewage facilities, etc. One of the big comments, though, that came from this review is the state is now considering if the plan requires a substantial update. And what that would mean is, rather than a 30-day circulation window, we would be required to do a 90-day circulation window as well as a public hearing. The main reason we would be considered for a substantial update is if our current process of kind of through the waste stream is changing. And with the potential mention of shifting away from Covanta, they're considering the implications of that if it requires a substantial update. So they're currently looking into that more and in discussions to, again, point us in the direction if we'll have to have a 30 or 90-day circulation. The only other major comment I wanted to share with you is, through the process, we found that 9 municipalities have not yet signed joint cooperative agreements or do not have updated agreements that formalizes their relationship with the Solid Waste Authority to transfer their trash. So this past 2 days, we've actively been hunting down those municipalities to try to get those agreements in place, just to ensure that we are ensuring proper waste capacity for the future. So the required next steps moving forward continue to be the same. We're currently working to address PADEP's comments. But again, we're currently unsure if it's going to be a 30 or 90-day circulation. So unfortunately, our timeline is a bit up in the air, for lack of a better term. But we're hoping to get that answer within the next week or two. From there, once the circulation is completed, it'll then go to County Council for approval. Just a couple other things I wanted to share, and I apologize, I'm very long-winded this evening. Just so you all know, the county is hosting an electronics recycling collection in Catania Park on Tuesday, September 19th. This is free of charge, however, registration is required. And there is a charge if you're bringing more than one television screen. So feel free to sign up. It's a great way to get rid of your electronics. And I will say we're coming toward the end of the season for electronics recycling. The other thing, I know David had brought this up in our last meeting, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection is hosting virtual sessions about fleet electrification and how municipalities in particular can go about transitioning to electric vehicles. I wanted to bring this up because the next electronic session, or virtual session rather, is September 20th from 2 to 4. The fastest way to find these links is on our Facebook or Instagram pages. A couple other things I wanted to bring up. So our planning department, and Gina, please feel free to hop in if you have any other thoughts on this. Currently has the Greenways Grant Program open. So as you guys know, this is a fantastic program in which the county provides funding back to municipalities for the acquisition of open space, the rehabilitation of open space, or for trail funding. So this grant program is currently open now and will be closing September 29th. Nonprofit organizations can also apply for this grant so long as they have a municipal partner. And the other thing I want to bring up with you is the planning department is also currently doing a secondary survey about the Don Guanella Parks master plan. If you have not had the opportunity yet to see what the proposed plan is, I would highly recommend taking the survey, as it does show the proposed maps as well as some of the highlighted features. And that survey is just asking for residents' feedback and perspective on what they think about the proposed design. The only other event that I wanted to bring up is the last household hazardous waste collection event for the County Solid Waste Authority is currently scheduled for October 14th in Upper Chichester. Again, that event is free of charge, however, registration is required. Are there any questions on any of the happenings or anything else I've talked about yet? Alrighty, we'll keep moving forward. So now what most of you guys are probably here for, sustainability plan update. So I'm very excited to share that following our meeting, we had a conditional approval in which the commission was seeking confirmation that our waste diversion numbers were correct on page 58 of the plan. As you may recall, I did send an email out to the commission recognizing that we got confirmation that those numbers were correct from the Zero Waste Associates, who's currently doing our 10-year municipal solid waste plan. So from there, we were then able to proceed forward to County Council, in which we provided presentations on both August 15th and 16th. And as a result of those meetings, County Council chose to formally accept the plan. So they chose not to adopt, but rather accept. And what the difference was, or is rather, is they chose to accept the plan in recognizing their support and would like to see us move forward with implementation. However, in using an acceptance rather than an adoption, it's not committing funding to any of the initiatives that are in the plan. And what we were told is we're allowed to move forward with implementation. However, for any initiatives that will require funding over county thresholds, we'll just have to go back before them for approval. So it's still a victory in that they accepted the plan, just recognizing we'll have to go back to them for approval of the expenditure of funds. So everybody should be very proud.
It's not a blank check.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
that's basically what they're saying. Not a blank check.
Correct. Exactly. Which is a shame, but we're still happy. So the other thing, now that we are completed with the plan, we're shifting our mindset toward implementation. So this is a big task in itself, but I wanted to share some of kind of the thought process that we're working with as we're kind of making this shift. So I did a preliminary analysis of our plan and found that of the 293 actions, 199 of them fall within the sustainability functional group. So those are the departments: the Office of Sustainability, the Conservation District, Facilities, Fleet, Parks and Rec, Planning, and Public Works. From those actions, and again, this was from my preliminary analysis, so there could be some shifting. 67% of actions were found that they could be completed with in-house talent or with a partner. 2% would outright require a consultant. 8% would require a consultant but has already received funding. So there's already grant funding or operational funds allocated toward that initiative. And another 2% also requires an external consultant but is contracted. So it already has the funding and actually already has agreements in place to perform the work. An example of that might be the tree canopy study that I already talked about. Then that leaves about 21% of actions in which it was identified that additional information would be required. So what that would look like would be more in-depth conversations with the directors and staffs of those departments to identify internal capacities and bandwidth and determination if additional consultants would be required. Oops. Did I just exit out of that for everybody else too?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. I don't even know how I did that. Excuse me for 1 moment. Sorry, folks. Let me pull it back up here. Alrighty, can everybody see it again?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So that's what we found so far. And I will say, in addition to these findings, to date, the actions that fall, those 199 actions that fall within the sustainability functional group have been shared with each of those departments' directors to allow for inclusion into their 2024 budget goals and objectives. So all of those directors have been informed of these, and many have included specific actions within their goals and objectives for their budget statements for next year. So next steps for implementation of what we've identified. So there are also several other departments which have identified actions or external groups other than those 199. So what we're looking to do is a more formalized notification or outreach to those other departments, just saying, hey, this was identified or you agreed to this action, just to, again, put it on their forefront as they're planning for next year. Another thing that we're going to be working on is identifying a reporting structure for completed actions. As you all recognize, there are a lot of actions in this plan and a lot of moving pieces with a lot of lead agencies and partners. So we're going to be looking to creating a form or another form of reporting structure that allows departments and external groups to check in on the progress of their actions as they're moving forward with completion. We'll also be continuing community outreach and sharing the plan, as well as outlining a status report of those actions that are underway or funded, and actions that are required to be in sequential order. So as you may recall, many of our actions are laid out as a roadmap, in that there's a very clear action that needs to come first before subsequent actions can occur. So we're going to be paring back through the plan and really pulling out what are those actions that need to occur in a specific order, so we can then break it down to what are the main priorities for our first year of implementation. Some other things I want to bring to your attention, or at least open up for potential discussion, or is what level of involvement the Sustainability Commission would like in this process as we're doing it. So I know in previous conversations, one of the ideas that Carol had actually brought up was potentially having commission members assist with some of the outreach. So what that might look like is doing almost a train the trainer in terms of presentations. So what we would do is kind of have a streamlined approach to sharing the sustainability plan and its goals and objectives, having kind of a straightforward presentation in which we would then train commission members on how to give that presentation and what should be included. And it would allow us to kind of disseminate this information more widely and quickly than if our office was the only one providing presentations. But I wanted to also open it up to you guys to other ideas or thoughts about what role you see the commission having as we begin to move forward in the implementation process.
David, director, sent in that he's happy to do presentations.
Right on.
Actually, I enjoy doing presentations, but you know, something to think about is that we really want to be very broad in our audience. I mean, you know, go out and talk to Rotary clubs, church groups, as you know, I see we're already starting to do. Anybody who wants to listen. We should be ready to send out, a presenter to do one of these things, because it's all about, getting people to know what it's all about getting people to know what it's all about in order to get them involved.
Absolutely. That's why we're calling on you, you guys, to help with this effort, because again, the more people we can have kind of sharing this message and being able to kind of reach those additional groups or through their personal contacts, I think is a great thing. Any other thoughts or ideas just in terms of either the presentations or in terms of involvement for implementation of actions identified in the plan?
Ed McGarvey did have a comment in the chat. The tight budget and no increases allowed could impact the implementation of adding new actions to county departments.
Yes, I agree. So we're going to have to get creative with implementation. Alrighty, if there are no other thoughts, I do see Ed McGarvey had one other comment in the chat a little bit further up about the Eastwick flood control study by the Army Corps of Engineers in Philadelphia. So I'm happy to share about that. So it's recently come to our attention in Delaware County that the city of Philadelphia, particularly the Eastwick community, has been working with the Army Corps of Engineers for the past couple of years on a feasibility study to install a levee along Darby Creek to help the Philadelphia side with flooding impacts. This is something that, again, we've only recently been brought into, as the Army Corps is now coming toward the very end of their study. But it's something that we as a county are very much pushing for further involvement and attention to our county and the potential impacts that a levee on only one side of the creek could cause on our side. And if you're curious about where this is proposed, if you Google the I think it's Clearfield, and Ed, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Clearfield or Clearview?
It's Clearview.
Landfill site. Okay, Clearview landfill site. That is the proposed location of the levee. So it's right near where the Cobbs Creek and the Darby Creek come together. And again, it has great intentions for the project, recognizing the Eastwick community of Philadelphia has tremendous flooding impacts. However, there's definitely been some concern about considerations of what the installation of that project might do for the other side of the creek. So one thing I would like to share with you is that there's currently an open comment period for this project. It goes now through November, and I will say I was not prepared with the link, so I'm happy to send that around. But I would highly recommend and appreciate your consideration and just kind of raising your voices in this matter in particular. Right now, the county is really focusing on its energy on trying to have a unified voice across the Conservation District, Emergency Services, the Office of Sustainability, while also trying to kind of scramble and get our communities that are in the impacted area unified and involved, because we found that they were not consulted with or informed that this study was going on prior to now. So we're actively working to, again, try to get as many people informed about this as possible. And we're also trying to kind of plead with the Army Corps of Engineers that we also need to have public engagement sessions in the Delaware County side rather than simply on the Philadelphia side of the creek. Ed, is there anything else that you would like to add, as you've also been actively engaged in this project?
I wanted to know, have you gotten Mary Gay Scanlon involved in this question?
So it's our understanding that
I can fill in a little bit on that if you'd like.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Gina.
Yeah.
I could only
that's
see
okay.
Ed's screen. Please hop in. And the planning department.
Yes. Yeah. So I was able to attend. They're doing these quarterly meetings in Philadelphia. So this is the first time that Delaware County was able to attend. So last Friday, Mary Gay Scanlon was there since she's on recess. So she wasn't able to attend the other ones in person. So she was there for this one. So we're definitely getting more involved on the Delaware County side, but they are far, far ahead of where we are. There's been a lot of modeling and stream work that's been done on the Philadelphia side. So we're trying to get ourselves up to speed. But, and as Becca said, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, their study and report, their draft findings are out for public comment. So I did ask them at that meeting to have a Delaware County public meeting, because there's one in Philadelphia. And they have agreed to that. So we are currently working on trying to figure out the date, time, and location for that meeting. So once we know that, I'll make sure, Becca will know, because I'll coordinate with her on that schedule as well. But she can send it out to everyone. And then we would love your help in trying to publicize this, to try to get people to show up and to make sure that people are making their voices heard, that we definitely want Eastwick. They deserve to have their flooding issues addressed, but we're not looking to just push the water on our side. At that meeting was FEMA, so federal flood, state flood, emergency, HUD, EPA, you know, all the different acronyms at the federal level, plus a lot of the city of Philadelphia folks were there as well. So, so we're slowly, everyone agreed that they want this to be a collaborative effort. But again, they're just a lot further ahead than we are in Philadelphia. So we have some catching up to do, but we need to make sure that the residents' concerns in our community are being addressed as well. So we'll make sure to get that around. And if you can help publicize that, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gina. And I will say, so with this issue moving forward, if timelines align, it is something that the commission could consider sending a consolidated comment as the commission forward during public comment as well. So we'll have to check again timelines, because we would want, of course, you guys to see the presentation provided during public comment first, but just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind as well.
So
With
right
that-
now, public
ahead.
comment is still November 1st, but I am
Okay.
going to put in sort of an official request to extend the public comment because we are just getting up to speed. So that could buy us an additional 60 days if they agree to it.
Thank you for pushing for it. And with that, I've done enough talking today. So that's everything I had.
Well, thank you so much, Becca. Are there any questions and comments for Becca? Let me see. There was a hidden comment, I guess, from David Director saying you might want to talk to Melissa Muroff about Keep Delco Beautiful. Illegal dumping is an issue.
She is on the committee, so I'm happy to say she is on the committee, and she and I had met individually as I prepped the community assessment, so I could get more of her perspective from her boots on the ground work to find out where are the major issues in the county. Has this been studied on a county level? And just kind of pick her brain in general so we can have a more holistic viewpoint for our
I
presentation.
figured she'd be a great resource.
She is. She's fantastic.
And there's another comment here related to the sustainability plan, getting the word out about what it's all about. Suggest updating the WHYY article from August 23rd and adding how residents can get involved, volunteer to talk to neighbors and do presentations.
I love that idea. You know, if you could put together, you know, a one-page summary, you know, a 3-page summary, whatever, you know, a really short presentation that anybody who was interested in could do. You know, it was basically self-explanatory, and anybody who was familiar with it would be able to take this presentation that was freely available and, you know, show it to a bunch of friends. Could be a very interesting idea.
That's a great idea.
Any other questions or comments for Becca?
I guess my question is, are we, like, do you sort of envision us having like committees to work on like the different aspects of the plan? Or like, is that the plan for like me to share the plan with my friends and then like get my friends together to do the things that are important to me? Like, how does it?
That's the question is right now. So it's easy to show kind of those more government centered actions. It's very clear, okay, like that's a planning action, the planning department will do it. But that's what I'm looking for feedback for. If you have recommendations for kind of those larger scale community efforts, if you have recommendations on how that might be best tackled, if it's something where you think subcommittees within this group or reassembling those from our planning efforts might be the most effective, we can roll with that. Genuinely looking for recommendations for, again, some of these like larger scale things right now.
Yeah, because I mean, my, interest is really in the local food and farms kind of area, and I would like to pull together a couple of people to just have that be our thing that we're working on. And like, I was just going to meet with a farmer yesterday to kind of see like, what is really needed and how can, I mean, there are things I can pull out from the plan and say, these are things we could work on, but I obviously am not going to work on those things by myself. So like, and that's what I mean. If I want to work on something, is it up to me to like kind of pull together a bunch of people? Because I can think it's people that work on it. Do I just say, hey, I'm with the commission and I want to work on this, so can you help me? Is that how it goes?
Right. So I wouldn't confirm that now because again, we are looking for kind of a unified effort in doing this. But we're still working on how to do that.
Gotcha.
Well, but
But
building
I
on
definitely have the mental note for local food for you.
building on that, what we might do is look at identify the action areas that specifically involve community outreach, and then have subcommittees, assigned to each of those outreach areas, food being one of them. And that maybe is a way to formalize that, or at least a start.
Okay. And that had definitely crossed my mind. I know in looking at the actions, like one area in particular, recognizing that we have a lot of actions that are catering toward like sample ordinances or model ordinances for municipalities. So that might definitely be a thing where subcommittees kind of in similar groupings of actions make the most sense, where rather it's like maybe a policy subcommittee or a local food subcommittee or public outreach specifically for zero waste or something like that. I definitely think that that's shaping up to be what makes the most sense, but we haven't landed on the solidified process yet.
Okay, any other
thoughts?
Yeah, any other questions or comments or anything?
Speaking of those sample ordinances, though, maybe one thing that we might rather easily do is just set up maybe even a Google Drive folder where people can upload stuff that they come across. I'm thinking of a model lighting ordinance that we're working on in media. And it's a Pennsylvania statewide model. And so, it would provide a starting point for whoever, in county government is going to start, whoever's going to take the next look at it. It's, because one thing we can do is start collecting resources and have some organized way to do those.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. It's an easier way to find it rather than having all my emails, because you guys send me great stuff all the time, but I have not successfully organized yet. So that's a great idea.
I was looking for the rights of nature thing that somebody's been circulating, and I was going to send it to you, and I can't for the life of me find out where it is. It's probably in an email that I deleted. So,
Any other questions or comments? A comment, in addition to in-person outreach channels like churches, could consider online channels like Nextdoor neighborhood groups or Facebook local groups. Any other thoughts or comments or questions for Becca? This will be an evolving conversation. This isn't the last time we're talking about it. It's going to be evolving for sure. Okay, with that, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you, Becca. for your great report. Very thorough, very good. Thank you.
We have lots going on.
10-year municipal solid waste plan update.
We had lumped that in
That's what I
with the
thought.
conglomerate of everything else.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure if you had something else to say about it. Review action items from the last meeting. I didn't think we had any. Is that your recollection also? I don't know if we
Let me
had
pull
any.
the minutes back up. We had a list at the
Oh.
bottom. I know one of them,
Here it is.
not to put you on the spot, was so confirming zero waste diversion data. We had done that to send the sustainability plan to council.
Yeah,
Meet the members.
form,
I
right?
will never stop harassing you about that.
I've done that. Yeah, that has happened. Oh, I don't think I sent around that resolution, so I apologize. I will do that. So that would be an action item. Sorry about that. I definitely want to get that out.
And then the last thing, so Ron from our office has been working on starting a base of municipalities that have either EACs, conservation committees, or tree canopy groups. I can upload that to the Google Drive, but I'll be looking to you guys for help of starting to kind of fill in some of the contact information on who to reach out to for those groups. I know a lot of the time municipalities won't list a contact just because they're normally community volunteers. So I'm hoping that you guys can help us out in making sure that we're reaching out to the right people.
All right. Let's see. New business. There is some new business that we came up with, I guess, from like since our last meeting. And did you want me to go over these? I guess my name is on there for asking for new business, but did you want to talk about the potluck, or I could talk about it?
You can touch on it if you
Oh.
want in Steve's absence.
Yeah, so Steve Clark sent an email saying how neat it would be if we had like a sustainability commission potluck where we would all get together in person, and it could be like a celebration of Francine coming back and being able to work with her again, and also in celebration of the sustainability plan. And he actually offered to have it at his house at some point. What does everyone think? Do you think that's I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see all of you. So
I love the idea of a party. Why shouldn't we have a party?
I would attend.
I'd come. I'd be there.
cool. All right. Okay. So we'll figure that out. We'll go back and ask Steve about that. But all right, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. Let me share my screen again. Oh yeah, the next one is farewell to Jenny Sachs and Scott Sidlow. Let me pull up Jenny's message and I'll read it to you. So she said, this is my last meeting on the County Sustainability Commission. I apologize that I need to leave early, but as I go, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your work. It's been inspirational to work with all of you. Our work really shows that incredible things can happen when you bring together people from diverse backgrounds and wide-ranging expertise to work toward a common goal. I'm excited for the future of the county and will be cheering on future Sustainability Commission work as a citizen of Delaware County. So yeah, thank you so much to Jenny Sachs. I know she had to leave early. I don't know if she'll come back and like take a look at the recording, but anyway, her work has been like so much appreciated. So and Becca, I don't know if you wanted to mention anything about Jenny, and we have Scott here and we appreciate you. And
Yeah, I just want personally just want to thank both Jenny and Scott. So if you are attendees today, don't realize Scott and Jenny were both original members of the commission. So they've both been serving since the inception, when the sustainability plan was just an idea, among many of the other initiatives that we can now check off our list. So I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to both Scott and Jenny as we move forward. And we really, again, could not thank you enough. Jenny with her expertise in a lot of the laws and a lot of just the community background information. And Scott, your expertise in both energy as well as the pulse on our municipal happenings. It truly has been invaluable to have you both on the commission, and we are very sad to see you both go. But we will certainly be pulling you both back for other initiatives informally. But thank you guys again.
Did you want to say anything, Scott?
Well, yeah, so I'm very proud of my time on this commission, and I really enjoy the meetings each month. My involvement really goes back to the transition team. I was on the sustainability transition team. And then when Elaine Paul Schaefer was trying to figure out what the Sustainability Commission would look like, she grabbed me in a little huddle with 3 or 4 other people, and we kind of laid out the Sustainability Commission and what it might look like, and came up with a plan of having citizen members and having government members. And then that was March 14th, the day after the schools closed for good. And then we didn't get launched until October because the county was obviously dealing with COVID and everything like that. So that's how far back I go. Now, the reason I'm not continuing my service is because I've decided not to seek re-election in local government, which is I'm in a local government position. I'm going to be starting a little home performance company where I'm going to be doing energy audits and energy ratings, and I'm going to be focusing on just Delaware County. I'm calling that business Solstice Home Performance. And so my moving forward of sustainability in Delaware County is going to be active. I feel there's a real need in Delaware County for somebody to focus on energy efficiency of homes and businesses and buildings, and whatever I can do to put a bigger picture to that, I'd like to involve the sustainability team and the commission and everything like that. So, so that's where my future is. And this meeting is the best way each month to find out what is going on in the sustainability area of Delaware County. That presentation that you just gave Becca is gold for anybody who wants to do business or be active in anything going on in sustainability. So I plan to attend most of the meetings just to get that section of the meeting, because it will keep me abreast of what I need to know is going on in the sustainability world, like knowing about immediate eco fairs and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you very much for your friendship, your fellowship, your collegialship, and I look forward to seeing the Sustainability Commission and Sustainability Department in Delaware County government having much success. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
See, I'll share my screen so we can go on to the next item on the agenda. Set action items for next meeting. So, oh, yes, Dave.
Hang on just a minute. I have an item of new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Is there any other new business? Sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not quite sure whether it's our new business or not. But you know, the whole business about the Darby Creek and the Army Corps of Engineers really reminded me of something else, and it sort of shows that we haven't been making enough noise here in Delaware County. And that was something that recently happened, a meeting involving the proposed liquid natural gas terminal in Chester. And the fact that nobody from county government was invited to take part, and nobody knew about it. And this was a very last minute scramble for people to attend the meeting. The League of Women Voters had a representative up there, and I understand that Stefan Roots was up there, but there was this was a lot of industry people, and a lot of Port of Philadelphia people. And it was, clearly an attempt anyway to sort of sneak one by on the community, which failed. So I'm wondering whether the LNG terminal is an issue that we should get involved in, or whether that's outside of our, outside of our mandate. And I just wanted to bring it up.
I think towards your question, kind of the end of like, is it within the scope to get involved? I think it's a great reminder that this board was created to provide reviews and recommendations on all things sustainability for county council and to county staff. So I think it's one that as we continue to get more information or can find additional information of this proposal, I think it would be appropriate for the commission to at least provide a recommendation or maybe even a concerted comment for council's consideration on the matter.
So what we really need to do is gather some more information. So let me see if I can track down, somebody who could give us a little presentation at one of our future meetings.
And I'm happy to reach out to Elaine Schaefer, who typically is in attendance at our meetings, to see how we can best move forward with our recommendation there as well.
Right.
Okay. Is there any other new business that anyone would like to bring up? Okay, hearing none. We'll go back to the agenda. Set action items for the next meeting. In my notes, I have Becca is going to look into the chain of command, or sorry, yeah, the chain of command for plastics. Like, where does our plastic go, like that we recycle? And then also developing a plan for community engagement and outreach going forward, or in terms of like implementing the plan, communicating the plan, what are our next steps, kind of making sense of that and making order out of that. And those of us who haven't completed the Meet the Members survey, please do. I know I have to do mine. And also I do need to send out the resolution from the U.S. Council of Mayors that I mentioned at our last meeting. And I guess also Becca's going to talk to Elaine about the liquid natural gas terminal in Chester, and David is going to also look into additional information on that. Maybe get a speaker for one of our future meetings. Is there any other item that you have, Becca, for the action items from this meeting?
The only other things, so in our next meeting, we will have to approve August minutes in addition to September's. I will be sending out the EAC list that we have, but if you could take a look at that, and if you guys have direct contacts, if you could fill them in so we know who the key point people are. I'll also be sending out the link for the Army Corps of Engineers public comment, and as we get additional information, either Gina or I will share information about the public hearing. I will also create a Google Drive folder, as David recommended, so we can start uploading kind of either examples of things or ideas for implementation as we come across them. And then the last thing is, again, if you have interest in serving as the chair, vice chair, or particularly the secretary, please let me know prior to August, oh my gosh, prior to October, hold on, let me check, prior to October 9th, just so I can set up anonymous polling if we need it. And that's everything I had.
Oh yeah, another thing I did have on my list is circling back with Steve Clark about a potential potluck. So I can reach out. Okay, we have a lot of good like action items from this meeting. That was great. So any public comment? So for those of you who are guests, if you would like to type anything into the chat, or you can send it to the email address, sustaindelco@co.delaware.pa.us.
We do have 2 comments in the email so far. They're both from the same gentleman. So goes by, and I cannot say this correctly, Oasin of the Fianna, who typically watches us on YouTube. The first comment was back in relation to our composting conversation, in which they said, locate the composting site in Swarthmore. I'm sure there would be a lot of people to get behind something like that. And the second comment is, has Philadelphia gotten its combined sewer overflow under control yet? Taking sewage out of Cobb's might be helpful. Unfortunately, other than what we've learned through this Eastwick process so far, I'm not privy to Philadelphia's efforts in their stormwater management or sewer overflows. So I apologize, I don't have additional information about that one. And then there's one more comment that just came through as well from the same person. While the Eastwick flooding is bad, wouldn't building a levee increase velocity of the water through the creek? This would mean more erosion of stream banks, as well as bad news for the cemetery. We mirror your sentiments, and this is why Delaware County is actively trying to get involved now to ensure that the Delaware County side of the creek is not being subjected to those impacts unjustly. So we're hoping that in now being involved and working with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we can have a better idea of what the impacts of a levee for Delaware County would be, and how we can come up with a meaningful project solution to mitigate those impacts as well. And those were the only comments I saw in our email.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other comments in the chat. Just one final time, are there any public comments for anyone that wants to type in the chat? Okay, hearing none. The next item on our agenda here is adjournment. So would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second, Crystal.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Right, so we're adjourning. I know we didn't really have quorum, so maybe we didn't really have to do that, but typically typically we do that. So anyway, thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you next month. And thank you, Becca, for all of your tremendous work, and thank you all for all the tremendous work you do for Delaware County and sustainability. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
See
you.
you all.
Everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Scott.
Bye.